Hey, it's Jeremy here at the Epson headquarters in Los Alamitos, California. I'm going to do a little tour and product demo, and hopefully we get some good information. Talk to you inside.
Epson America moved from its former Long Beach, California facility into their new Los Alamitos building in 2020. Once inside, the building's lobby features an always evolving display from Refik Anadol, a Turkish-born digital artist based in LA, who was the first to use AI in public artwork. The dynamic two-sided display features 4 Epson Pro projectors with ultra short throw lenses projected onto a DaLite Parallax custom screen. My tour continued with a look at the EP101, which was the world's first compact digital printer. It was commissioned for the 1968 Summer Olympics as a way to quickly print out competition results during the games. Developed by Epson's predecessor company Seiko, the printer's name, the EP101, became the origin story for the Epson brand name. The story goes that Seiko's next printer was dubbed the Son of Ep, or Epson, and before you knew it, Shaquille O'Neal was telling us how great Epson's printers are. Other artifacts in Epson's headquarters gallery include a sculpture featuring crystals manufactured by the company. Epson has a long history in the crystal device market, starting with their first quartz wristwatch in 1969. They have a strong focus on in-house production, from raw crystal procurement to integration with ICs and oscillators. Epson's projectors employ 3 LCD technology, which involves using 3 separate LCD panels to display red, green, and blue colors. These panels require precise timing and synchronization, and that's where Epson's manufactured crystals play a crucial role as well. Throughout the facility are digital photography prints from Epson printers. These are museum-quality prints on a variety of media to show the flexibility, quality, and durability of Epson printing. At several stops on the tour, I learned about the enormous variety of printing technology from Epson, including the massive Mona Lisa 8000 fabric printer, and numerous other impressive models that print everything from retail merchandise and prescription labels to clothing, massive signage, and even surfboards and coffee mugs. Earlier this year, I chatted via Zoom with Melvin Diaz, Senior Product Manager, Home Entertainment Pro, about the rollout of the company's Q Series of projectors. He told me how the Q Series was developed with a custom integration channel specifically in mind, offering high brightness, modern design, and profitability for dealers. Following up on that conversation, my next stop was Epson America's Showcase Theater, which features a Stewart 180-inch Phantom Halo Plus screen and the QL7000 at 10,000 lumens. That's where Melvin walked me through how the Q Series came into being after conducting a dealer survey and taking a field trip to key dealer partners in the affluent Texas market.
We took a look at the data where we're selling the most HE Pro. At the time, our top of the line unit was the Pro Cinema LS12000, and Texas was number 1. So, the rep company there, we spoke to them, and we organized a trip in the Dallas area where they were, gracious enough to introduce us to dealers in the area. And we had the opportunity to speak to those dealers who brought us to these amazing, amazing homes. Some of them did have Epson projectors, and they were the commercial side of the business.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Because when you're talking about the LS12000, that's more in the $5,000 price point.
That's correct.
And now we're really this is not like ultra premium, but it's definitely a premium price in terms of $30,000, $29,999.
That's correct. Yep.
3 nines. We are stepping up definitely in price point from there. If that's what you're seeing as the common kind of product before, you're just seeing there's a lot more meat on the bone. There's a lot more potential that you can go for with this particular customer base who wants the product to perform well in these ambient light scenarios, right?
Absolutely, yeah. We saw the opportunity because of their environment and using high brightness projection that we can design specific products for that market that more cater specifically to the needs, like becoming really small, compact, very precise in terms of, you know, our picture quality, our motion interpolation, and very quiet, efficient operation. These projectors, they run whisper quiet, versus the commercial side. They're in noisier environments like large venues, you know, classroom or auditorium environments.
They're farther away
exactly
from the people.
Yeah, they're farther away. You know, usually the professor's talking, and you're not really enjoying like maybe a eerie moment in a horror film.
Yeah, or a quiet dialogue scene or something
exactly.
like that. Right?
Yeah, exactly. So we really honed in on the feature set that is targeted for this home environment.
Okay.
And made it designer friendly, right? So it's beautiful. It doesn't have, you know, it has more of a design centric design appeal to it. So it can blend in inside the environment. It comes in black and comes in white. You know, we have a replaceable top cover. We can design it in such a way that, yeah, it just blends into the environment.
And you have all the lens options, correct? You can go even ultra short throw, and you have long throw and all the various levels in between.
That's right.
And I read when Sammy did his review, Sammy Prescott did his review for ProjectorCentral, he goes through that. He actually installs the lens as part of the process. He does the long throw. But you would have the ultra short throw for applications where folks didn't want any obstruction between the lens and the screen.
Yeah, that's right. And at CEDIA 2024, we showed an application where we can embed the projector in the ceiling and have the short throw peak below the ceiling. And that's an exciting application. We're waiting to see the first installs that take advantage of that configuration, that application, because it makes the projector disappear.
That's cool.
Yeah, really, really cool. So at CEDIA, we designed some custom top covers. The top covers come in black, come in white, and we do have this champagne gold color. So the QL series, and it's a little smudgy, I'm sorry about that. The QL series does have customizable top covers, different types of top covers. Again, we're trying to cater to interior designers in terms of the appeal and blending in with the environment. If you have a room that has some copper or gold accents, just like our KEF speakers have gold cones, certainly up at the front.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
We can match the decor in the room.
Nice.
We also did something special at CEDIA where we took these top covers and we hired an automotive wrap firm to create a custom decal. So you can see Shaq dunking the basketball there.
Yeah.
And then here's a USC. At the heart, there is a lot of Epson design technology in the product. For our projectors, brightness, color, and detail is very important. To us, they are the cornerstone of our projection technologies. QB1000 is now at 3,300 lumens of brightness. The QL3000 is at 6,000 lumens of brightness. And the QL7000 is an amazing 10,000 lumens of brightness. So you'll get to see the comparison between the different models and how it compares to the competitors as well. So, we have this concept called bright room contrast, and that's where, we took our high brightness technology on the commercial side, brought it into the home side. We looked at the brightness levels of bright rooms and great rooms. We went to new home communities and measured inside the model homes, furnished model homes, the brightness levels. We reported this back to our headquarters in Japan, the engineers there, and they took a look at this, American-based data, home data, and they said, we can pick 6,000 lumens and 10,000 lumens as ideal for playing back video in those types of environments because the bright room contrast ratio is enough to satisfy the average consumer. For higher ambient levels. We have laser light sources that have been redesigned. Previously, we had these larger light sources in our projectors that required a lot of cooling, so massive heat sinks, louder fans spinning at higher speeds, therefore louder. But we were able to minimize the laser design, and these are 5-in-1 laser modules mounted on each of these modules. So this represents 10,000 lumens of brightness. And what's really cool about this is this heatsink design. There's a copper tube that has a vapor inside, and that vapor changes state between gas and liquid as it heats and cools. And obviously these fins here are there to cool down these lasers. So because of this unique technology designed by Epson again, we're able to get the heat coming off of these lasers at 10,000 lumens much cooler in a smaller package. And this is our 3-chip 3LCD technology that's embedded in all of our projectors, you know, from entry level all the way to the top. We have a light source that hits different dichroic mirrors to hit each of these LCDs. And then they're recombined. Each of these LCDs represents a red pixel, a green pixel, and a blue pixel. And they're recombined through a lens, a prism, and then shot through a lens and then projected onto your display.
We talk about this every time Epson Projector is reviewed or we do a new product announcement. This is my first time seeing the actual device. It's very unique to Epson.
This is very unique to Epson. Epson is a vertically integrated company. We design so many parts. The patents for 3-chip 3LCD, obviously, out of our engineering team in Japan are amazing. And talking about our resolution, our detail, we deploy a mechanism called the dual axis precision shift glass plate. And this is how we achieve very high brightness using 3 1080p panels to shift so that on the screen we have a native 3840 by 2160 4K resolution on the screen. So what you see here are voice coils. So these are 4 different voice coils. And the reason why there are 2 voice coils on each axis is for balance. So this allows the whole shift plate to be extremely accurate and shift a pixel left for 1, 2, 3, 4. So in 4 positions to achieve, again, a full 4K 3840 by 2160 or 8.3 million pixels on the screen.
Again, every time there's a review, this is described as an Epson feature, and I can never quite imagine the technical detail of the components, so that's really interesting to see it. I can't say my brain still processes how this is all possible, but it's a really interesting thing to be able to see physically.
Actually, it's kind of simple, if I can explain it this way. Effectively, these are voice coils, meaning like a speaker, right? A speaker has a magnet, a speaker has a coil, and if you run a current through that coil, it creates a magnetic field, which opposes the other magnet, and it moves. So that's how it's able to move each of these tiny little voice coils, and it's doing that using the QZX processor to manage these functions and then paint the pixels on the screen.
Gotcha. That does help.
Next up, I chatted with Technical Account Manager Rob Brennan, who presented A/B comparisons between Epson home entertainment projectors and commercial projectors, and between Epson and certain respected competitors in the category. I also asked him which of the Q Series models is his favorite and why.
And so in a room like this, when we have all of these projectors, not only multiple different versions of Epson commercial products, but right now, all of these different competitive samples from the residential space, it allows us to compare the performance to understand, where we're on target to achieve not only amazing picture quality, because that's first and foremost in the minds of any residential application is, but do I love the picture? And yes, you are going to love the picture. But do I love the picture? How's the HDR performance? Which is crucial. For years, I think HDR performance on projection has been something that we wanted to continue to improve upon. And then ultimately, where projectors can be deployed. And really the key to that is high brightness.
Now, you were talking about how passionate you are for the projector category, and you're in the right role for that, obviously. What within the Q series, you said, which is your favorite personal model? Tell us again what it is, which one, and why you love that particular model.
It is absolutely the QL3000. This is my favorite projector, not just at Epson and not just this year. This is, I think, one of the best projectors that's been produced for as long as I've been in this space, which is a lot more brown in my in my hair back in those days. And the reason for it is there's a couple. First and foremost, the pure picture quality, specifically around HDR, that 6,000 lumens is able to achieve. For about 10 years, ever since HDR came on the market, projectors have had kind of this difficult scenario where they're often not really bright enough to do really impactful HDR. Mm-hmm. They're compatible with HDR, they can accept the signal, but chances are the screen size that you're using or the screen gain or some combination results in an image that's just not bright enough to make it like really the way it's supposed to be. Mm-hmm. And so for a lot of projection lovers like myself, we've chosen to watch an SDR only. Mm-hmm. And I feel we finally as an industry have turned this corner and said now 6,000 lumens at $15,000. This is not a price point that is, atmospheric. Yeah, it's not budget, certainly, but it's not atmospheric, and it gives you the ability to achieve enough brightness on screen for this amazing HDR. That's first and foremost in my mind. The second thing that the projector unlocks is the ability for the projector to be placed in non-traditional spaces. I love projectors. They're my very favorite display technology, and I'm saddened when I think about how few customers around the world, and certainly here in America, have never owned one, have never lived with one, have never experienced one, because, well, I don't have a dedicated space, or I have a dedicated space, but it's not painted the right color, or whatever the reason they have for it, they haven't been able to kind of turn the corner and adopt projection. With enough brightness now, 6,000 lumens, in nearly any environment, in nearly any screen size, we can deploy this and you can have an amazing experience. So I'm just excited for the hundreds and thousands of new customers that are going to get their first projector, and it's going to be an Epson, and it's going to be one of the new Q series.
Last but not least, I was given a detailed presentation on Epson's commercial projectors, including some that are specifically designed for the K-12 market. Back in January, I spoke via video chat with Chris Tegu, product manager, large venue commercial projectors, about the company's new PowerLight L models. Here we follow up on that discussion as I wrapped up a great day at Epson America headquarters.
So the PowerLight L, like I mentioned, kind of straddles that space between a portable projector and a pro level projector. So kind of bring in all the professional level features like NFC, pixel line camera adjustments, high brightness projection, and fits them all into a portable platform, right? So you get kind of the best of both worlds. And our latest projectors from PowerLight L are kind of amplifying those things. So now, in the past, we've gone up to 7,000 lumen. Our latest and greatest can go up to 8,000 lumen. We've also introduced new optical lens zooming. So our short throws can go from 0.8 to 1.3. In the past, it's only been 0.8. We've also introduced a third line of projectors in the PowerLight L family that does 0.5. So you can get really large images from really short throws, right? So that's really the two big things about PowerLight L that we're bringing in this year.
And they're fixed lens, so each model is a different lens option,
right.
Essentially.
Yeah, so conversely to like an interchangeable lens that you can cover between ultra short throw 0.35 all the way to like 5 or 8, these are fixed. You can't swap them out. So what we've done with these lenses is basically give you a much broader zoom and introduce a couple more key throw ranges that kind of give you wide coverage.
And we're looking at applications in education, primarily higher ed, K through 12 as well.
Yeah. So traditionally, fixed lens lives in a lot of corporate K-12, well. Education, higher education, basically rooms where you're not turning down the lights, right? You have a meeting or some type of conference. You don't want to turn down the lights. You want to take notes. You want to communicate with your colleagues, but you also need to share content, right? So that's where these projectors shine, because at 6,000 to 8,000 lumens, you're really battling that ambient light that you have from lighting or windows and things like that. So this is really the sweet spot for commercial applications like education, corporate, conference rooms.
And Wi-Fi capable, so for the education or corporate, if you need to connect to it from a device, it's pretty easy to do.
That's right. So we have Wi-Fi in most of these units. The standard throw projection has new Wi-Fi 6 capabilities, right? So you can do a host of casting capabilities. You can do system control with like Crestron, Extron. It allows you to do over-the-air updates now. In the past, you'd have to use a thumb drive to plug it in and then update it.
And you're talking about a lot of projectors in some.
That's right. You're talking like maybe thousands of projectors in some cases. So these can now, if they're connected to the internet, can be updated on their own automatically, or you can control it yourself. If you have an IT team that wants to monitor what the firmware is, you can have it not update automatically, obviously. So we're making it possible for all those applications.
And I'm sure that folks who are interested in commercial projectors know what the NFC capability means, but just for those who may not know, that is a way to set up in kind of a broader, when you have those multiple projectors being delivered.
So NFC is just a technology, right? It's just near field communication. But the application of that in projection is quite unique. When you're dealing with fleet installations, you're talking about 300 projectors. Having to go into each projector with the remote and setting them up each time can be cumbersome. It adds, it could be 3 minutes per projector, but you're talking about 500 projectors. It adds a lot of time. So what we've done is using NFC technology and an application that we have, you can actually set all the settings within that app and then push that to each projector without it even being turned on. So if you have a warehouse of your projectors being ready to be installed, before they're deployed, you can go into each one, open up the box, tap the NFC logo, and just push those settings directly to the projector.
Great. I think we've covered a lot of the highlights. Is there anything I haven't hit on that would be good to mention about these?
Really great thing also, before I let you go, we've actually added double the resolution on many of these projectors, right? So in the past, it's typically WUXGA on a number, maybe half of the projectors, including our short throws, we're doubling that. So we're using 4K enhancement technology to get 4 million pixels on screen as well.
Great. Well, thank you very much for the overview.
Thank you.